Hi guys, welcome to the DOdaily Sunday Social. It's Des here. Hopefully you're having a great weekend, enjoying the best of the weather, getting out there, being active. Got a great episode coming up today. Really great guest. Somebody, when I was thinking about doing this little feature, somebody I really wanted to speak to, somebody who makes such a difference locally, makes such an impact on the running community and people who get involved with parkrun, and of course the phenomenon that parkrun is. Today's guest, Helen Hood, head of new events delivery for Parkrun UK, really showed me over time how being passionate and informative and keep passing on the message can make a real difference. I speak a lot about my journey into running and well-being and keeping fit, and how I took that up to lose weight initially. It wasn't until I came to this exact location, Colic Parkrun, I'm actually stood at the start line, that I realised that there was a real community out there that want to encourage people to join them first of all, but then join the wider community to get involved, be active and enjoy something that so many of us take part in today. So take a listen guys, enjoy the episode. Hi Ellen.
Hi, Des, you all right?
Yeah, are you?
Yes, so you're very on time now. Well done.
Yeah, I was just making sure. Just to let you know, it's recording. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'm notoriously late for everything, so it's unusual I'm actually here on time.
Okay. Well, thanks for agreeing to have a chat. I really appreciate it. I don't know if you know what I'm doing. Obviously, of course, you know about do running and what I'm trying to do with that. But
yeah.
I don't know why sometimes, but I've created a YouTube channel to run off the back of do running. It's not quite do running. It's to coincide with some of the work I do personally for the City Council and the Get Out Get Active project, and to kind of for me to develop, I guess, and do different things, as well as, of course, use it for the do running and what we're doing there as well. I got the opportunity to speak to Mark Crossley last week.
Our Forest goalkeeper.
Yeah, that was really good. He's took up walking recently, and
I've seen that. Yeah, which is good, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's probably tapping into a different kind of clientele as well, which is always good, isn't it?
Of course, yeah, and do running now, despite the fact we all love running, and that's what we do. I'm trying to sort of encourage people just to be a bit more active.
Yeah. And that's I'm really up for that, and that's why I'm really happy to do this, because if I can get a chance to talk about that bit, because obviously that's something I'm really passionate about as well, especially with my parkrun hat on, but also as an athletics coach and as a leader in running fitness as well. And I try and do something every single day. I try and encourage Finley to try and do something every single day. So because it's all about just being active, isn't it? In some way.
That was my thinking. Of course. Yeah. We know each other through various things we do, and I try and get this 30 minutes in every day, and I know parkrun's sort of big on that as well, and what some of the initiatives through the sort of pandemic have been geared at that kind of thing is getting people out, being active and doing different things. And I've been injured recently, so I've struggled a bit with my running, so I've really sort of got involved in the walking myself, and whilst I've always done some kind of activity, I've really started seeing the benefits, the bigger picture, I guess, with what walking can give as well, the mental health side and that kind of thing. And I know that's something, whilst you might not sort of push that through parkrun, I know you realise it all sort of fits together.
Well, I mean, at parkrun, we're really realising that more and more as we go along as well. That initially, in the very early days, parkrun was all about getting people running. And even when Fraser and I used to train up teams in the very early days, that's what we were kind of given. We were given instructions from head office kind of thing as activators of events to say to teams, just get people running now. If you can put a sign on that corner, stick a sign in, get them running. And these days, we would never say that. So now you'd say, put a volunteer on that corner, because the volunteer is benefiting from doing that job because they're doing something that makes them feel good about themselves and they're outside in the fresh air and they're helping. But also, you know, they're getting the people who are running past them are getting a buzz from them being there. So more and more as parkruns have gone on over the years, running is less important, being active is more important. And we even say, like, so now we always sort of say walk, jog, run, volunteer, spectate. So you don't even have to be registered to come and enjoy parkrun. You can just come down with your family, your friends, stand on the sidelines and clap, you know, and be part of it, can't you? But we there's so much value in volunteering. And I, you know, me personally, I've got so much more out of volunteering than I ever have running or walking a parkrun. But that, you know, that's how I feel about it. But equally, parkrun is what you want it to be.
I've mentioned many times and wrote blogs about what parkrun's done for me personally, and you know that I've mentioned it, and you've commented on it and seen it, and it's made such a difference. And that encouragement into activity in that community environment has almost encouraged me to go and do the things I've done. You know, there was a few things yourself,
great.
An online running group I used in London, which both kind of got me into running. But then you start looking at the bigger picture, and I start volunteering. You know, the day I was the race director was one of the best experiences I've had for all the achievements of running certain things. So I really, really sort of appreciate all of that and understand how parkrun can make a difference in encouraging people. And that's why I asked to speak to you, because I know locally and within the people who run within Do Running and that kind of thing, there's a lot of people are very keen and eager to know what's happening with parkrun and what might happen and what's available and that kind of thing. And we all talk about it. We still talk about sort of previous parkruns. I do a little feature on Saturday, you've seen, sort of remembering when we've gone somewhere else and things like that.
From the archive.
I just thought it'd be nice to have a quick chat to discuss, really.
Yeah. I mean, well, and obviously there's not really much to say about parkrun, other than things are moving in a positive direction at the moment. And to keep an eye on the Tuesday updates. You know, every Tuesday one comes out about 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's on the blog. It gets shared on people's local Facebook pages, and you know, and even when we haven't got anything to say particularly, we'll still just send one out because people expect it now, and it means it's the most up-to-date information on that day. But of course, things are changing all the time, but we couldn't really say any more at the moment as to when we might be back or anything. But I think so. In the meantime, it's great when you look around the country and locally to see that parkrun communities are still sort of checking in with each other. You know, like, I mean, Colic, every week when we do that, the sort of you out and about on parkrun day type thing, that gets seen by over 1,000 people. Lots of people come and, you know, comment on it. Lots of people see it. You know, it's just nice that people check in. Obviously, once we sort of dealt with the closing down of parkruns from the head office side, we've had time now to get not parkrun up and running. That's been incredibly successful. I mean, it's kind of like an adaptation of Freedom Parkruns, isn't it? Because of course, Freedom Parkruns were go to a course, run that course, and log it as a course on your profile. But I think not parkrun is even better because you can do it anywhere, anytime, any pace. You're working as a community for your not parkrun results as well. So again, that's kind of a nice little nod to how we are at parkrun. And I've dug some stats out for you, Des, just to let you know that as of today, there's been just over 159,000 not parkruns logged across the world by 46,500 different people. So a lot of people are doing a lot. I mean, I do 5 or 6 a week, to be honest. You know, I probably walk 4 and I've run 2. And Finley probably comes out for 5 out of 6 with me. So that, you know, that's, you know, a teenager out doing a walk or run as well. And then the sort of the countries that log the most parkruns are UK by miles, followed by South Africa and Australia, and then everyone else gets a little bit quieter after that. And then the most interesting thing that's been about it, and I really would love to encourage more people to do this, is people have registered for parkrun who have never done a parkrun proper, but are doing not parkrun. So, and at the moment, it's just over 3,000 people have done that. So that will be great if that then translates into parkrunners, wouldn't it? Further down the line.
Of course,
and I think, Yeah, and I think the thing is, sorry, the one more thing I just wanted to say about that was that I really would love to encourage people to walk it. You don't have to run them. It's not about going as fast as you can. Just get out and just do 5K. Do 5K. You know, whether you run it or you walk it, and Finley, you know, and I go out with Finley, who's 19 now, probably for 4 walks a week, and it's just lovely quality time as well. You know, and we're having a chat, and it's great for family relations. And like, I just would say, you know, and we're going to lots of lovely new places locally, and we've found loads of places in lockdown, and it just keeps you on an even keel, doesn't it, and positive.
I love seeing that. I see your tweets. I love seeing those. You know, I'm the same. You go. It's amazing how much we've run around these places, and we go and see these. Yeah. We go and walk them. We're still recording it as an activity, but you see different things, and I read more signs and
spot more things. And I think that's the thing. When you run, you don't always notice everything, do you? But when you're walking, you do. And also on a Saturday morning now, I make a particular point of getting up super early, and I go out and do my not park run before the quiz. So I get back in time to do the quiz the park run quiz at home at 9 o'clock. But I've gone out at 7 o'clock, and like running into the centre of Nottingham at 7 o'clock in the middle of lockdown was amazing. You know, nobody about, and I could just, and it just felt so weird to run across the market square and be the only person there, and to run all around the park. And of course, I've been trying to tick off all the post boxes as well, so that's been really interesting. So just being active all the time.
You can find quirky ways of making it fun, you know, and they're really good ideas. On a Friday, I get up to do daily, the YouTube channel. I get up and go out at 6 a.m. and whilst it's hard getting up, it's fantastic when you're out there. Whenever it's
and your pictures always look great, don't they? And I really like that thing you did the other week when you went around all the villages.
Oh yeah.
That was really good, isn't it? Because it's just like you say, finding something quirky to go and look at, whether it's a post box or a sign or something. And yesterday on Twitter, I saw somebody had seen a stink pipe, and they're quite rare in Nottingham. Then you get loads of them in London, and there's some kind of pipes that sort of release all the gas from underground. And there's one in Ruddington. So I've got to go there. I've got to run or walk there now to see that. So that's my next plan.
Well, I've got one like that. I saw an article in the local paper today about tunnels, disused tunnels, and now I've got to go and find the train sticking out of a tunnel at Woodford.
Oh right, yeah. And isn't there a tunnel in? There's a tunnel in the park, isn't there as well?
Yeah. Have you never been there?
No, I've never. I ran around to try and find it, and I couldn't find it, so I need to go again. But I was too busy looking at the post boxes, because there's 2 cyclist post boxes in the park, and I was so excited that I think that put me off.
You will absolutely love that tunnel. I take some of the guys up there when we do the City Slickers group on a Tuesday, and it gets a bit, when evening time, it gets a bit dusky and it's a bit spooky, so we quite enjoy running through it. But it's really it's worth a look. But what I wanted to sort of ask as well, Ellen, of course, I've been doing parkrun for about, I don't know, 5 years now, and Colic had already established in that time. Is it 2013 it started?
No, 2011, July 2000. So we've been June 2011. We'll be going just over 9 years. So we had our 9th anniversary in lockdown, which was a bit sad, but yeah, we were the first one in Nottingham, and then we've kind of rolled out more and more since then.
Yeah, I've always been really intrigued on sort of how you got involved, because I know you've kind of you got involved in that. You work at Parkrun now, don't you?
Yeah.
Is it head of event delivery? Have I got that right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just intrigued on how you're kind of sort of, because I'm doing something different. I've got into running quite late, got into looking after myself and trying to sort of build things on the back of it. I just really sort of intrigued to know how you kind of went about sort of what you did and what it was.
Well, I wasn't really a runner particularly at all. And Fraser had been listening, so my husband had been listening to Marathon Talk, and he heard Tom and Martin on there, Tom, who's my boss now, obviously, which is kind of insane. He heard them talking on Marathon Talk about this thing called parkrun. And so he Googled it, and Colic had literally started the weekend before. He just came in the kitchen and he said, "Oh, I've just heard about this thing called parkrun. Perhaps we could go and try it. It's for all the family." And he's like, I'm gonna go anyway, whether you go or not. And I said, "Oh no, we'll come as well." So all three of us went down. Finley was 10 then, and we went along to the third event. So I wasn't there from the very beginning. The only person left from the very beginning is Steve Dickens, who is my co-event director at Colic, and so we've been that for nearly 9 years, because there was somebody else in charge when we first started. So we went along to event 3, and I just remember running around that very first day. Fraser ran with Finley, and I ran on my own. I don't really know why. And I remember running around and just thinking, this is brilliant. I know this is going to change my life. I know it, and I love it. I love everything about it. I love the community. I love the fact you're outside. I love the fact you've all got to come together to make something work. You know, you're mixing with people from all different walks of life. It's great for my 10-year-old son, you know, as an only child, to come and mix with different people and to see how you have to step up to sort of make things happen. So from then on, we were hooked, and we just never went away, really. So then within 6 months, Neil, who was the original event director, had decided it wasn't really for him. He didn't want to be event director. So Steve Dickens and I said, well, we'll do it then. And we took it off him. And he was very busy with work at the time as well. So off Neil went and Steve and I took over. And then we've just done it ever since. So, but we've got an absolutely brilliant core team as well. So like there's no, you know, it's all very relaxed at Colic. We try and keep it super, super simple, because that's all parkrun should be. So like, and with my head office hat on, I'm always saying to people, safe, simple, sustainable. That's all you need to do. Don't do anything complicated. Rock up on a Saturday. And as Tom always used to say, can you turn up, put your coat down by a tree and go for a 5K walk or a run? And if you can do that, you've done it. So that's what we try to do at Colic. And, you know, and here we are just over 9 years later. And it's been incredible, an incredible journey and an incredible thing to be involved in it. It's been such a roller coaster as well, because of course there's some real highs and of course there's some real lows. And as we've gone on and on and on, we've met more people. It's completely changed all of our lives. You know, Super Kev that's involved, you know, Tim, Caitlin, Ari, all of those people have just, their lives have changed. Our lives have changed. We've had new friendships. We're like all the Colic team and members of the Rushcliffe Athletic Club. We're all coaches at the Rushcliffe Athletic Club. So, we're giving back there as well, and we're getting so much from doing it. You know, my son's nearly 20 now. He's an athletics coach. He's taller than me. He's still turning up all the time. He loves volunteering more than he loves the running. It's all brilliant. And then, of course, you know, we've met people. Just if I could just touch on Roy as an example, you know, we had the wonderful Roy Skelton at Colic, who's one of our favourite marshals, and he, you know, unfortunately died earlier this year. And he died at a really difficult time, didn't he? Because we were in lockdown. But when we announced it on Facebook, the outpouring of support and love for Roy was fantastic and so great for their family. And I just think, you know, I've got a bit, but we've been a part of that, and we've helped their family deal with their grief, and that's a great thing. And before that, of course, we had Dave Robinson as well, who, you know, we all love to bits and we lost last year. So I think it's an amazing thing to be a part of, and I feel so grateful, you know, and that I am part of that. You know, and so that reminds me. So when on the days when it's really difficult, that's what I remember. It's all about the people, and you know, and it's worth every effort. As it says on my wristband, it's worth every effort. So.
Of course, and I remember the day, and we felt this. We felt this because these people, you people, and the regular volunteers are people that we all kind of look up to, and you know, in a way, kind of aspire to be myself. You know, doing little as much as I can. You know, as well as to do running stuff, volunteer at parkrun, and do bits of running for myself, and keep trying to do that. So
you're doing your bit, Des.
Pardon?
You're definitely doing your bit. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's just.
I think that when I stand up at the front of parkrun, I just hope that maybe somebody else will look at me and think, she's a role model. I can be like that, because there's nothing special about me. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. And it's not just being a role model to younger women or girls, is it? It's to everybody. I can be a role model to my son, to anybody, as we all can, you know. And I always want to try and just try my absolute best, you know, wherever possible, as I'm sure you do.
Yeah, one of the big things I say through the Do Daily is one positive action leads on to another. You know, so if I went to the Peak District on Friday to look at the sunrise, you know, and 2 people messaged me over the weekend and said, I went to the Peak District because of you. And I think that's enough. I don't need any more than that. And that's quite addictive. And you like it when people do that. But if 2 people go because, like, if 2 people go because those 2 people went, that's 4 people. Do you know?
That's right. And it grows and it grows and it grows.
It's that thing that grows. And obviously Parkrun's grown enormously in the last 15 years.
Not ours.
and that's all we're trying to do really through sort of, you was at an event I hosted in December where I mentioned whilst Parkrun's there, consistent, does what it does, what I'm trying to do in Do Running is almost get that little bit closer, I guess, you know, by working in really sort of digging into communities and doing slightly different things, but using things like Parkrun to draw people out and encourage them to take part. And I think it's really important just to sort of keep, especially during the pandemic, you know, none of us foreseen this coming. And I've noticed a little bit of a reluctance in people. You know, I create different challenges through Do Running. You know, we do a solidarity session, I call it, on a Tuesday, which I tie mine Not a Parkrun into, as you've seen. And I do a Wednesday workout, and that was the one with the signs where we go and find different places. And there's a little bit of reluctance at time because it's that change thing. People are so used to it, and that's where Parkrun are fantastic at what they do because it's consistent. It's 9 a.m. every Saturday morning. But I think it's important to sort of keep passing the message on. I'm so glad you mentioned the Not a Parkrun, which I'm really, really enjoying as well. Do you know, I'm struggling to sort of run at the moment because of the injury. I'm just kind of getting back. So it's given me the perfect excuse only to run 5K. Do you know, so yesterday I wasn't planning on 5K, but I went out there and because I was a bit pressed for time, but I thought, no, I've got to get my Not a Parkrun in. And
the other thing as well, I think some people think you can only log one a week, and of course you can't. You can log one every day, and you can, and like I say, you can do a walk or a run. And then also, but when we look at the graphs, there's a massive peak on a Saturday. So most people log their Not Parkruns on a Saturday, but they can do it any day. So you know, that's a good thing. And Finley and I do make a specific point on a Monday morning. We always walk our first one. And a walk at Parkrun is considered anything over 50 minutes. So we when we go out on our Monday one, we try and do it over 50 minutes so that even if somebody goes on to Colic to think, oh, has anybody done one yet? Because I don't want to really go and log my results until there's a few more there. They'll see 2 slower people. So, you know, they're going to see a 50-minute plus from Finley and I, first thing Monday or by the middle of the day, say. And then I'd hope that would encourage people to think, oh, well, if they can do it in 50 minutes, I could do it in 48 minutes. I could do it in 30 minutes. And it's that, isn't it? It's just trying to say to people, because some people are funny about that. They don't want to log it, but they should, you know, let's hope they can. And we hope that gives them a bit of a platform to do it without feeling, you know, any pressure, or as if it's showing them to be not good enough, because of course everyone's good enough to parkrun, even if it takes you 2 hours. So somebody went up a mountain in Norway this week and did it in, I think, 3 hours, and like we didn't quite have enough of a bandwidth to add that in. So, but it's great, isn't it? An unusual Not Parkrun is great. So,
that's fantastic. I've noticed that people have got really frustrated with missing events and things that have been cancelled, and some people have almost downed tools. And I've said it a lot through Do Daily. I've already mentioned Not a Parkrun I try and give out tips every Wednesday, you know, 5 tips on how to do this. I'm not particularly articulate with all of this, you know. I try and be relatable and honest, and I get it all wrong. I say the wrong things,
But I'm just trying to pass over.
That's the way to be. You're just being natural, and that's a good thing. And
Yeah.
you don't need to try to be something you're not. Just be you, and then the passion shows, Des, and that's what will bring people along. And they are, and if they're telling you that that's what they're going to the Peak District because you've been, that's great, isn't it?
Well, that's fantastic. Well, what I was going to say is, like, these people, there's some who've almost done tools with the whole activity thing, and I'm finding it weird. Some coaxing them out gradually, you know, and encouraging them why to take part. But some are really sort of, oh, well, the London Marathon's not on this year. I don't want to do this. And that's where I'm saying almost, just remember why you run, you know, just remember what it's about, or walk or exercise, you know, just get out there, use something like Not a Park Run, you know, join our solidarity sessions, get out there. And lots of people are like, why would I train? And if it's going to get cancelled, I'm like, make the decision for yourself. So you can still train by doing different things. I think that's the point I was trying to get to there, you know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's just good for you to do it, isn't it? Because you feel better. You just feel better for doing something. You know, and we went out for a walk yesterday, and I felt absolutely shattered. And I said to come on, Finners, we need to go out for a walk. And like within 10 minutes, we're chatting away. I've forgotten how tired I feel, and then I just come back and feel so much better. You always feel better for doing it. Don't you? It's just get around to it. And that's been like, I mean, I've done all the PE with Joe's as well. It was the last one this morning. And again, he's done a brilliant job, hasn't he? Of just giving people like a port in a storm, a regular port, somewhere to go every day for 20 minutes to do a little hit session. And you could do it whether you were 4 years old or 84 years old. And it's just been joyful. You know,
it's fantastic. It's fantastic. And that's what I've tried to not emulate. What I do is different because I talk to people and encourage activity. I don't actually stand there and coach it. But I basically tried to sort of copy his model in a way. He's on at 9 o'clock every day. I tried to come on at 6 o'clock every day, 10 minutes of just, you'll know if I'm feeling rubbish, if I'm feeling great, you know, what I've done, what I'm suggesting, you know, and just try and be like that Monday to Thursday at 6 and then at 7 a.m. on a Tuesday, on a Friday, just to give that consistency and people, if they want to use it,
it's there.
I'd love people to watch it, but if 5 people watch it, you know, that's absolutely fine if they're getting something from it, because I'm trying to develop as well at the same time, you know, so I'm trying to build my own confidence and trying to use activity to keep building my confidence to do new things. So it's just about that consistency in doing the same things, and that's why I think I fell in love with parkrun. You know, at the time I would only run on a Saturday, but then I'd look forward to it, and then I'd feel great for the rest of the Saturday, and that's where I think it's important to push out the message about Not a Parkrun and some of the things that parkrun are doing. I've seen some of your workout video, your warm-up videos, you know, and things like that, and even this, you know, what I'm trying to do, just to let you know, is create almost a thing called Sunday Social, so I can post this on a Sunday, and people can just sit back and watch it and get an idea. You know, it might be their day of rest, it might be the day they choose to not do very much, but I encourage that as well. You know, it's about finding whatever works for you, particularly during the pandemic.
Yeah, it's always good, isn't it? It's just good to try and say to people, get out there and just do something, even just a little walk around the block, you know, because it was the time in lockdown where you could only go out once a day. That was quite a challenge for me because I generally run every day, but equally I knew Finley wouldn't run with me every day, but I knew he would walk with me every day, so I had to make that choice. Do I run or do I walk? So I chose walking every time because I'd rather walk with a family, you know, than use my one time out the house as a run. So I walk, but basically I did have one day when I did 50 laps of the garden, just because I thought, well, you know, I never would have done that otherwise, would I? So again, there's not the novelty to doing that. And as I did it, I was chalking off, I've got a little blackboard in the garden, I was chalking it all off, and then I just put a photograph on Twitter to say 50 laps of the garden, you know, just to sort of say, look, if she can do it, I can do it. And I did skipping every day as well. So for months, obviously PE with Joe, I did the walk every day with Finners, so that when it relaxed a bit, it just made it a little bit easier because I could have a run if I wanted to. But actually, I don't feel I need to run every day now. but I will feel like it, and I won't if I don't. You've got to listen to your body as well, haven't you?
Of course. I'm glad you mentioned that about the garden as well, because I keep saying a great way of sort of being positive is to set little challenges. I'm currently not drinking. For as much as I run and try and keep fit, I probably drink a little bit too much in celebration. But what I'm trying to do is I'm not drinking for 100 days. And whilst that's not I don't have to do that. It's just a challenge to me, because when the lockdown kicked in, I started enjoying the weekends with a bit of music and having a drink and perhaps not doing so much. And it's just a way of being positive and keeping everything ticking over every day, you know, as well as all the exercise and things like that. So it's just, like I say, one positive step leads on to another. Yeah,
definitely. And I do try and go to bed every night, and I like getting to bed, and I just want to try and think to myself, what have I achieved today? It doesn't have to be a big thing. Just it might be a really little thing, like I did the recycling today. So like I popped to Morrison's, I did all my glass first thing this morning. So just the little things, because it just makes you feel better, doesn't it? So whether it's something to do with activity or just something else in your life, like I've probably done more gardening in the last 2 months than I've done in 5 years. You know, and that's an achievement, isn't it? Because I've just never had time before. And again, gardening's active, isn't it? I actually got to the bottom of the ironing basket yesterday for the first time in probably 3 yees. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm honestly not exaggerating. I found a shirt in there that I wore to the Houses of Parliament 3 years ago. That is how bad it was, because I just never have time. Because, like, you know, life is so bonkers. And so for me, lockdown has actually been quite a good thing, because it's just been an opportunity to take my foot off the pedal a little bit and to sort of just redress a few issues. And that's been a good thing. So when things get going again, because of course once parkrun starts back up again, it's going to be bonkers. And it is a bit of a sort of a 24/7 job, to be honest, but that's fine, because I love it and I'm passionate about it. But, you know, the respite's been quite nice, to be honest.
Well, I totally agree with you, because that's how it's been for me. When I've got the running groups in the evening as well, it's just constant. My only tool, I was actually watching something Joe Wicks put out about 6 months ago, and he said he used to stand in front of train stations in Richmond advertising his boot camp.
Yeah,
and he was really uncomfortable doing it, and that's exactly the same for me. Some of the social media, I'm really uncomfortable, but it's free. It's my way of doing it. You know, it's a way of me being uncomfortable.
It's a really good tool, isn't it? It's a really good tool to use as well.
Of course, everybody gets to see it. Some of the older traditional ways probably aren't used as much anymore, are they? The reason I got you to mention about the updates, I read the updates, is because, like everything else, there's a lot of speculation. What's going to happen? Someone saying parkrun's going to start next month, and I know that's not true, and I know that it's going to be a case. I'm sure it's going to be when one opens, they all open. Because if you open Colic,
they have to. And
if you open Colic, you're going to have 2,000 people there.
Yeah. And when we open, we've got to make sure that we can open for Windy Nook that has 30 a week and Bushy that has 2,000 a week. And until we can do that, we're not going to go anywhere. So, but, you know, obviously New Zealand's opened again. So, but they've had quite a different situation there, haven't they? They've not had anything like as many deaths, and it's considered to be eradicated there. So, slightly different position. But, you know, we're working behind the scenes all the time. We're all still at work at parkrun. Nobody's not working. So we're just working on different things and working really hard at trying to keep the community engaged. So loads of social media stuff, things like the warm-ups, parkrun school, you know, the not parkrun. So we're all busy, just busy in different ways. So.
Can I just ask you one more quick question?
Yeah.
What's your favourite parkrun other than Colic? Of course.
Oh, that's really difficult. I've been to loads of parkruns. I've loved them all, but I must admit, Bear Island in Ireland was fun. I mean, all the Irish parkruns I've been to have been amazing, and all of the people are amazing. But they're all amazing. But Bear Island, because it's just off the west coast of. So we flew into Cork. And the island's just off, and I think there's about 180 people live on the island, and they've got their own parkrun. So you can either go the night before and stay in a bed and breakfast, or you can get the ferry over in the morning.
Okay.
And when you get the ferry over, we did a bed and breakfast, so we didn't do this, but I've heard that if you get the ferry over, the ferry driver then gets off and gets on the minibus. He drives the minibus up to the parkrun start, then he puts his trainers on and he runs as well.
Oh, wow.
So it's an amazing, so there's like loads of the islanders take part, but they get loads and loads of tourists as well because it's got such a lovely thing about it. And when we went, we stayed in the bed and breakfast, and there was a lady called Adele who was the bed and breakfast landlady. And so she greeted us at the bed and breakfast, and then we saw her at the park run, and then we're running along around the park run, and she said, "Oh, Helen, just look out to your right. You can see the Roman Bay or something." Like, "Oh, all right, thanks, Adele." And then we finish and we get back and go to the cafe, and she's serving the scones in the cafe, and then you go back to the bed and breakfast, and she's doing your breakfast. So just the whole experience is just amazing. And like when we left the bed and breakfast to set off for the start, and Fraser and Finley were ahead of me, and there's just 2 chickens across the road, and it was just like such an unusual experience, I think. And the whole island know you're there, and they're all dead friendly and telling you what you should do when you're there. So that was a really unique experience, I guess.
Well, the Irish are mad on it, aren't they?
Yeah.
I went to Milan. And there was 36 people who did the park run.
Yeah.
And it was St Patrick's Day, so there was. And it was absolutely teaming it down. It was biblical. And there was 6 of us from Nottingham, and there was 20 Irish people in a group. And
They weren't from Tralee, were they?
Pardon?
They weren't from Tralee, were they?
They might have been, actually, now you say.
I wouldn't be surprised, because they go all over the place. Siobhan.
That rings a bell. We got talking. I'll try and dig out the picture and use it on Not a Park One.
Yeah.
You
have to tell me. I'll have to look at when you went there, because I bet you any money it'll be the Tralee lot.
It was March 2017.
Right, I'm gonna have a look after this. I'm writing a note.
But yeah, it was just amazing that amongst 36 there was 26 of us sort of from the UK.
Somewhere else, yeah. Well, when we went to Canada on holiday in 2017, and we went to Richmond Olympic Park Run, which is where the manager of Park Run Canada is. So, and we know him. I know him quite well because of work. And we rocked up there, and there were people running down to the start line, like carrying suitcases, who'd literally just got off a flight and like were desperate to make the park run start. And they were from Australia, America. There was us from England. It was just, it's so, the foreign ones are so multinational, which is just brilliant, isn't it, really?
Well, that's brilliant. What we did through Do Running was just do day trips to we did day trips to Dublin, which was amazing. We'd get the flight and it'll be a big rush, and then in the afternoon we'd be in Temple Bar and doing these things. So we love that. But
that's it. It's because the thing is, it's not just about the park run days, is it?
No.
So like I can remember when we first and this is again with my park run hat on, so head office hat on. When we first signed Alzheimer's Research UK as our charity partner, we had like a day in Cambridge with their team, so we could get to know a bit more about them. They could get to know a bit more about us, and you had to sort of tell them a bit about your park run day. And like I said, oh yeah, well, I go to park run in the morning and I volunteer, and then we go to the cafe. We don't leave the cafe before 12, and they were like going, "You don't leave the cafe before 12?" And they were really surprised. I said, "No, that's normal. It's really normal. It's your whole morning is taken up by park run, and that's how you like it." And because the actual park run bit is just a small part of what it is, isn't it?
We went to Woodhouse Moor. We went to Woodhouse Moor in Leeds, and there's a little church. And there's a little church just off the moor there, and we was in there for about an hour and a half drinking tea and sitting around. It felt very bizarre at the time, but we all look back at it now and say what a nice little thing that was.
Experience. Yeah, and I found that, and like they're the ones that I remember the most. Are the ones that after you park run, especially when you go on tour, because you don't know the people there as much, do you? But you go on tour, and they welcome you like they're just one of your friends. And we've had it before when we've gone to volunteer at like junior events. Remember we went to Red Car Juniors, volunteered there, and then this family invited us for breakfast, and we all got in the car, we followed them somewhere else, and we had breakfast with them. We didn't leave till like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And you think, and they were complete strangers at 9 o'clock that morning. And then you've spent the entire morning with them, and you've got a friend for life. And that is a wonderful thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing.
So,
and that's what parkrun does, isn't it? You know, and running and exercise and activity, you know, community.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but then that's what's been very interesting about lockdown is that you see it all over the country that like park runners are supporting each other even though we're not even on. And so we've over the last 15 years or so we've created that, and that's meant that park runners are there for each other in these difficult times, even though park run is not happening. Isn't that a wonderful thing?
It's absolutely amazing. I absolutely love it, as you know. So
me too, Des.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you. And I think it's really important to try and pass the message on. But what I'm looking to do is create something a bit different rather than your athletics club or those things. It's build a community that can rely on each other all the time. So I think it's really
there's room for everything, isn't there? There is room for everything, I think.
Hope you enjoyed that, guys. Really, really good stuff. Really informative and inspirational. I can't thank Helen enough for being involved in the Sunday Social. It's really, really important for me to get good guests on, people who can encourage and inspire activity in the same way I'm trying to do that myself. As you can see, I'm now stood at the finish line at Colic Parkrun. I've taken the opportunity to listen to that back and get a not a parkrun in, trying to set the example as ever, just like Helen. Do you know, it's really important to get out there. I'm actually wet through. What would a Colic Parkrun be without a downpour? So whilst it was amazingly sunny before and after, I didn't get a chance to miss out on those famous Colic Parkrun puddles. But like I say, really, really good stuff and really great message there. Do get involved. Look up Parkrun online. It's absolutely brilliant. And once you go once, you never look back, just like myself. So for now, guys, have a great weekend. Take care. If you can, get out there. Get out for a walk, a run. Log that 5k. Anybody can do it. Really can. And once there's one on the board, you'll want to do it again. So for now, guys, until Monday motivation tomorrow and a new week, just doing it.